the harder the challenge, the more we can bounce back from that challenge. Just like that red rubber ball.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
The Health in the Real World podcast is sponsored by most exercises and workouts, whether they be running, biking, elliptical, rowing machine, traditional weightlifting, or even CrossFit, do not give you a balanced workout. And when you do workouts that neglect even one area, you're out of balance, resulting in pain and injury as well. Achieve your goals with the fitness program your chiropractor would love. Visit chrisjanke.com/pod to watch the free video. Hello and welcome to Health in the Real World. I'm Chris Janke and I'm joined today with Judy Feldhausen. Judy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just absolutely great. A little chilly here in Chicago today, but otherwise, I got a warm heart.
Right. Good. And it's expected, right? It's February 3rd. So we're like, yeah, Chicago in February tends to be cold. So how long have you lived there? Are you kind of used to it or?
Yeah, I'm used to it. I've been here since, I hate to tell you how long I've been here. Most of my adult life. Let's put it that way.
Like I've been here since 19.
Yeah, right.
It's a funny story. My friend who's about my age, I'm 41, went into a club over New Year's and showed his ID. And then the bouncer looked at it, gave it right back to him. And he's like, well, you didn't even look at it. He said, oh, yeah, I saw that you were born last century, so you're old enough to come in. And he's like, oh, my God, I feel so old.
Oh, my God. I never thought of it that way.
Right? People born in 2000 can now drink. Legally. Well, Judy, I want to get started with you, introducing you to the audience. What do you do? Who do you help? And tell any kind of stories you want to start us off with.
Sure, absolutely. So I got into health and wellness, probably about 8 years ago. I got tested on a device that showed that my cardiovascular age was 25 years older than my physical age. And that kind of scared me. And as I thought about it, I thought, well, gee, I eat right. I think I do everything that I'm supposed to do. But really, how do we know, right? And so this screening just was a wake-up call for me to just see exactly what I was doing and how I could make it better. And I did a lot of research, a lot of study. I'm becoming a holistic health practitioner just because of some of the things that I've learned. And now my cardiovascular age is about 20 years younger than my physical age. Absolutely.
Awesome.
And I have a friend that I haven't seen for real in a couple of years. And he goes, how come every time I see you, you look younger? You're supposed to age. I'm like, I'm not aging anymore.
She's aging backwards. Nice.
That's right.
So Judy, this is a perfect segue into my next question, which is, you meet somebody and they find out that you're in the health and wellness field and they ask you, well, I'm not as healthy as I want to be. What's the first step I should do? So I want to direct it back to you. Like, what were the steps that you took to go from, being older than your chronological age to now being cardiovascularly younger than your chronological age? Like, what were those steps?
Well, there was some very simple things. One was taking a different kind of look at my diet. So, I believed that what the government put out there was the truth. And I have expanded that belief a lot since then. Also, I started nitric oxide therapy, which was actually won the Nobel Prize back in 1998 for being able to improve the cardiovascular system with amino acids. And that was one of the best things I think that I did to help actually clear out my cardiovascular system and be able to start fresh again.
Got it. Got it. Now, when you mentioned the government, are you talking about the food pyramid specifically, or?
Yeah, well, the food
Yeah,
plate now, it's the food plate.
it's a food plate now. So what, are you a proponent of that, or you speak against it, or what do you think of it?
I think that there's different things to put on the plate. I love the plate. I believe the plate should be a rainbow.
Okay. As far as like color of vegetables and fruits, and you got your
Yeah,
berries, you got your watermelons, you got your chard, you got all the different colors.
yes, and
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm a proponent against white.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
White bread, white
white
rice.
bread, white rice, white sugar,
Mm-hmm.
white potatoes.
Has
Um,
been
so those
very
are some things
bleached,
that I
right?
like to, they're not in the rainbow. They're just not.
Right. Bleached and denatured, and a lot of nutrients are taken out of it. And they call it enriched bread because they take out all the regular stuff and then they just add what, like two or three sort of vitamins or whatever they add. I don't even know what
Right,
they add.
right. So it's about eating whole,
Yeah.
right? And so not eating packaged. There's no sense in that because of all the chemicals that are harming us. Just our gut is suffering, our entire body is suffering, our organs are suffering because of all those things that are being put in processed foods. And I believe that you can eat more, um, less expensively if you eat fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And I teach a lot of that. I have a YouTube channel. I've got some recipes on there. I've got about 15 different recipes, everything from 1 cup soup to chocolate decadent muffins that
Mm.
are made with beets and no sugar.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. So part of your coaching is kind of helping people sort of like cook from scratch. You do a lot of cooking from scratch, recommendations, things like that.
Yeah, cooking from scratch and really looking at their life and what they're willing to do, because some people aren't ready to cook from scratch,
Right.
right?
100%.
So they may need to use a service, or they may be able to bring some things in, but not all things. So one thing that's unique about me is I start with where the person is at, and we work at the pace that they can jog at.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't do a sprint, we don't do a walk, but we will jog to get them to where they need to be.
I like that. I use the analogy, the traffic light analogy with workouts. I say, if it's green, it's not going to be hard enough to change you. If it's red, it's going to hurt you. Stay in the yellow. It's like,
I
that's
love
your
that.
jogging analogy.
I might steal that, Chris.
You can steal it. It's cool if you steal it. Like automatically, 1 penny will get inserted into my bank account every time you speak those words, and so that's totally fine with me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right. Well, Judy, what do you what's like your pep talk for your client who maybe has been at it for a while and they sort of like fall off the wagon, right? We've heard that expression. Maybe they've been doing it for like 6 months and they have had some success, but they're just, for whatever reason, they're like, I'm just done with this. It's just too much.
Yeah, so we just I sit down and talk to them. I have 3 coaching certifications in just regular coaching, not in health coaching, but
Mhm.
regular coaching. So we have some really deep discussions on really what's doing this, what is making them get to that place, and what we can do to make small shifts to be able to make those adjustments so that they don't get as frustrated, as depressed, and wanting to give up. So being able to give them some wins along the journey really, really helps.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's huge, being able to see success as you go. And like you were saying, when somebody starts, your goal is to meet them where they are and jog, find the jogging pace. And 6 months, 9 months, a year down the line, somebody's had success. They're at a different place in that pyramid, that step, right? Step by step, and they may be more advanced and need a little bit more maybe. So yeah, good. What's like your typical, actually, I just went like 6 months down the line. Let's go back to the beginning. What's like
Okay.
your typical first week with a client look like? How do you transition them from maybe nothing to the first step again? I always like the first step, because I think going from 0 to 1 is a lot harder than going from 99 to 100. That first step is always the hardest, right?
Yeah, so in that discovery step, we find out where, not just where they are and not just where they want to be, but what will get them between the two. So, I can suggest a tincture. They can make a tincture for something that is going to help their digestion, or I can suggest a supplement that they can use, or I can suggest food. But which is better for them? All of them will work, but some of them will work better for that person than others. I like to say that I work with my clients with 2,000-year-old science and state-of-the-art technology.
Nice.
And so we just figure out where they are in that timeline and go from there.
Nice. Judy, let's go bigger picture. I really like going to this. Let's say you were hired by a university to give let's say the commencement speech, or like a corporation to give a keynote speech. What's your motivational talk to somebody? Let's say like a minute or two, your motivational speech, your Tony Robbins speech, to go really big picture as far as, why are they doing this, or goal setting, or however big you want to get to.
Well, I like to talk to people about possibility and resilience. And I have a word that I coined several years ago called bounceability. So I think of it as having a red rubber ball. When you're a kid, you have this ball you play with, and you bounce it and it bounces up. And if you bounce it a little, it bounces up a little. If you bounce it hard, it comes back hard. And, for me, that's looking at the challenges in our life. The harder the challenge, the more we can bounce back from that challenge. Just like that red rubber ball, sometimes it like hits us in the face, and we have the choice to be able to take that and stop. But we also have the choice to come back from that, to look at what can make it better. Where are the lessons that were learned in this tough thing that happened, or maybe the easy little slip that became a habit? So where are the lessons in here? What can we learn? What can we change? What can we do better to make our lives be what they want to be? I actually have a group that we started, a friend of mine and I started during COVID, called Unleash Your Free Spirit. This has nothing to do with health, but it's a group that says we can have hope in hard times, and we can look at each other, find out what each other has done, and really pull on their experiences and what they've done. And together we can unleash our free spirit so that we can make ourselves better, but not only that, make the world a better place. And so, that's really what I'm about, is to, yes, focus on health, but it's more than health. It's our life too. And we have to look at the whole picture, because that's what life is.
100%. I like that bounceability concept. That's great. There's a saying, I think it's like a hashtag going around, but did you die? Have you heard of that one? It's like, wow, that was so hard. Oh my God, it was so hard. But did you die? You're fine. Let's keep going. Come on. Right? It's like, I love that. So, all right, Judy, that's great. I love that talk. Thank you for giving that. And I want to give people a chance to find you. How do people find you online? Your website, social media?
Sure. So I'm all over. My website is www.cardiowellnessgroup.com. And for all the business people, I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. And I have a group called Unleash Your Free Spirit, that we look at the whole person as a whole. And I have an 800 number, 800-957-8946, where you can reach me and have a conversation. If at all possible, I answer that line immediately. I don't let it go to voicemail, because I feel that if people have a question, they need an answer right now.
Right. That's awesome. Well, that's very, very cool, Judy. Thank you for joining us. Again, Health in the Real World today with Judy Feldhausen. And Judy, thanks again for joining me today on Health in the Real World, and hopefully we can have you back soon.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.